Kongversation.
My Force hologram is returning to my real body. Oh no! En route, it learned from KABC in Los Angeles that Coco the gorilla had died. Not Coco!
Wait, why are we doing Mario Tennis Aces? We haven't even done a Mario Tennis Ultra Smash episode. Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell. With me this week, for the very first time as a Kongversation co-host, is a longtime DK Vine stalwart, forum member, Inner Circle member, Sea of Thieves, Stream of Thieves streamer, Shane Marchis. Shane, thank you so much for being here on the Kongversation.
Hi.
Hi. I was hoping you were going to have a longer hello. I started to take a sip of tea, and you just said hi. One syllable, two letters, so it did not give me nearly enough time to swallow it down.
Nice,
yes.
I'm really happy to be on the Kongversation. Every day somebody asks me to be on a podcast, but I've been waiting for my very first podcast appearance to be here so that every other podcast I record can be KVU.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm glad you've preserved your podcast virginity just to make yourself a legitimate Kongversation character. I do appreciate that, because we don't need you to become like the Saberman of the Kongversation. That would just make things needlessly confusing. And then when you start your own podcast that is published by THQ and gets mostly ignored, and all these people are going to be saying, well, why isn't that part of the KVU? Now we won't have to deal with that. Now it's just everything Shane Marchis does is pure Kongversation universe. And now you can be on Pod Save America or what have you. So thank you.
Yeah, I get invited to that a lot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no way, guys. Not until I'm on the Donkey Kong one.
Right. I do appreciate that. We are the Donkey Kong one. I don't know. Are there other Donkey Kong podcasts at the moment? I know both the Vine Donkey Kong audio program and the Pod DK cast are kind of in perpetual hiatus. And they have been for many years. But I don't know if there are any other Donkey Kong related podcasts out there. I shamefully am unaware of this. Well, if there are, you certainly don't know any, so we'll just move on.
I think the closest thing would be the Crystal Archive.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm always honored to be mentioned in the same breath as the Crystal Archive podcast.
Oh yeah, they invite me every day, and
every day you get an invite. Yeah,
every day.
Well, real quick, let's do some due diligence. So right now, if you go to dkvine.com, you might see a bit of a mess. You might have a bit of a mess on your hands because we're currently getting ready to roll out the new website design, the long in the works DK Vine. It's not even 2.0 at this point. It's so this would be the, I guess, fourth big iteration of DK Vine, ignoring all of the like site skins we've done with DK Vine 3.0. But maybe this would be 5.0 if you consider the site remake we did during the first generation of the site back in 2001. Although that was functionally still the same as the first site design. Anyway, I'm just in the weeds now.
We're not counting a green porn city, are we?
We are not. No. Because remember, even when...
I don't think that counts personally, but there are some diehards.
Yeah, well, when that illustrious webcomic had its run, you have to remember DK Vine was actually operating on a different server at the time. So the continuity of DK Vine has never lapsed. So Green Porn City was not the replacement for DK Vine. It was just... a huge mistake. So anyway, DK Vine, we're currently going under some renovations, including implementing some new site security features to make us a verified, secured website like the rest of the internet in 2018. Basically, so old Vlad Pooty doesn't come sniffing around us again come midterm time. So all that being said, there are some hinks, some hijinks with an S at the end that are going on right now. So if you visit dkvine.com anytime within the next couple of weeks, we're recording this July 19th, 2018, you might see some mess, especially on the main page. So just bear with us, bear with us. We're going to get it done. We're going to make DK Vine better than ever, and hopefully get to this new site layout relatively quickly. But that being said, we also have Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can find us on all three by typing DK Vine in those respective locations, or going to dkvine.com /Facebook, /Twitter, or /YouTube. And it'll take you to those locations. There you can follow us on social media, daily social media updates, and of course, all of the great YouTube content. I mean, maybe. It's not that good, honestly. It's mostly Kongversation episodes and old Sea of Thieves streams we've done, and occasionally we'll throw in a new video, but those are few and far between because it takes time. It takes time to make those. And I've currently got anywhere from 4 or 5 in the works right now, depending on how you want to look at things. So I'm just juggling quite a bit right now, and I'm so tired, Shane. I just want to go to sleep. Can you just take over this podcast? I don't want to do it right now.
Sure. So
that's why I'm drinking
since
tea
I'm
instead of
oh,
Angry
you're still
Orchard.
here. Oh, I thought you were gone. I was gonna give them my impressions, tell them about how Mario Tennis Aces is actually just a glorified pawn.
Glorified pawn? Well, it is. But Mario Tennis Aces is...
Oh no, it's a great game.
It's there's a reason we're doing a conversation on it, despite my jokiness at the start of the show. This is the first Mario sports game we've done a conversation first impressions for. So I don't even know when. Was it Mario Golf for the 3DS?
I think it was the Mario Golf World Tour.
We weren't even that enthused about it. Chad and I did that episode together, and we are huge Mario Golf fans. Even then, we were just kind of burned out. I think it just wasn't what we were necessarily expecting. I know it wasn't what Chad was expecting, because he's a big fan of the RPG Game Boy games for both Color and Advance, and this was more of a console version of Mario Golf for the 3DS. I appreciated a lot of things about that game, especially the Donkey Kong course, which was heavily inspired by Returns, but it just felt like something was kind of missing, that a little bit of the old Camelot spark wasn't there. And then, of course, there was Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, which we basically ignored on the conversation. By basically, we made some snarky comments about it, and that's all we did.
You guys talked about Ultra Smash a lot in the lead up to it, but then not so much after it actually came out.
Yeah.
Chad would often call it glorified pawn, but that was about it.
So, for those of you who are wondering why we're doing a Mario Tennis Aces first impression episode... Well, first of all, let me clarify something. Why are we doing Mario Tennis Aces before Donkey Kong Adventure and Mario plus Rabbids? Because I realize that our audience probably expects us to talk about that before Mario Tennis Aces, and I completely agree. We should honestly be talking about that first. The reason we aren't is because there is still confusion about whether or not the gold edition of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is actually getting a release outside of Europe. Because right now it looks like it is not. And I was actually holding out for that physical version, because not only does it come with all of the content that one got with Rabbids Kingdom Battle, the gold package DLC plus the original game, but it also had the includes Donkey Kong Adventure banner on the game case. It had Donkey Kong on the game case, so me being the Donkey Kong fan, that's the definitive version I would want. But it looks like Ubisoft is only releasing that, publishing it in Europe. And here in North America, Shane, you're Canadian, so you're basically European, more so than I am. But
oh, when it comes to video games, we get the same thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point. This is the one area our two countries still see eye to eye on, and that's shutting us out of the European exclusives. And to be fair, there are very rarely European exclusives when it comes to this kind of stuff. Even things like the Sea of Thieves Chips Ahoy items, you can only get Chips Ahoy in North America. It's not anywhere in Europe. So the good Europeans who are playing Sea of Thieves, including the game's fucking creators and Rare, cannot get the Obsidian bucket. They can't get it.
Up here, Chips Ahoy did not have Sea of Thieves. They are doing a continuous promotion with the Toronto Blue Jays.
That's very upsetting to me. Yeah. It was frustrating because as they were rolling out the Sea of Thieves branded packaging here, this is now, by the way, Sea of Thieves, Chips Ahoy, tie-in promotion first impressions. Sorry for all you Mario Tennis Aces fans who came in hoping for this. While I was they were just rolling them out, but so I was checking the grocery store and Target every day waiting for these things to come in, and all they had were just the Chips Ahoy, Olympic packaging, the Winter Olympic packaging still. And so it was just this grueling wait of, okay, when are they going to switch out the Olympics for Sea of Thieves? And it finally came. But, anyway, where were we? So, yeah.
That wasn't even any of the Olympics that Donkey Kong competed in, because he was out this year.
He was out this year, yeah. So it was just discouraging all around. But, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, doesn't look like we're gonna get the Donkey Kong packaging. And if we were to import it from Europe, while we could play the game, the code that would come with it for the Donkey Kong DLC would not work. So ultimately, I've got to make a decision now. How am I going to purchase this game? I've still not purchased it because I don't want to double dip. I'm going to have to double dip on Yooka-Laylee next month when the limited release of the physical edition for Switch comes out. Honestly, at this point, it's like quadruple dipping on Yooka-Laylee, but I don't want to, because funds are limited, especially since I'm buying this Banjo-Kazooie statue from was it first four figures?
Four figures.
It should be figure 4, because I'm thinking Ric Flair, the professional wrestler, he has the figure 4 finishing submission maneuver. And anyway, first 4 figures is doing this ludicrous Banjo-Kazooie statue, and I'm buying a chain. I'm doing the most sensible payment plan, where I pay $30 a month for it, and therefore I can no longer buy comic books. I'm essentially quitting buying comic books. I just did this big DC Comics, Oops All Tangents mini, a couple months ago, and now I have to basically quit the habit again because there's something else I want more. And quite honestly, I'm starting to get burned out again on DC Comics. I the whole Batman does not marry Catwoman thing, it just pisses me off. Anyway, so I'm doing this. So funds are still very limited for me, so I can't just continually buy multiple versions of Mario plus Rabbids. It's not like I get any competitions from Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't recognize me still as a legitimate news source. Only Microsoft does. So, that being said, I have to now figure out, do I just go buy the collector's edition, the big expensive collector's edition that came out initially for Mario plus Rabbids that I could gleefully ignore when it came out because it wasn't DKU, but now it is DKU, so I need to have the best version, and that's the best version. It comes with the Grant Kirkhope soundtrack. Of course I need to buy that. Oh, but it's going for $100-some. Oh, damn it. Oh no, what do I do now? Plus I'll have to buy all the DLC and Donkey Kong Adventure. Oh, God damn it.
If it helps, that Grant Kirkhope soundtrack is really good. He did phenomenal work in that game.
And now I can tell him on Twitter how great of a job he did. So it's doubly pressing that I get that version. So Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Donkey Kong Adventure. Actually, I feel like that's going to have to be 2 episodes. We're going to have a first impressions on Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and then a first impressions on Donkey Kong Adventure. It's going to have to be like a 2-parter. So that will be coming this summer. Some point, I just have to commit to and make a decision on what version. Because I know as soon as I buy the collector's edition, then they're going to announce, hey, the physical edition is actually being released for the gold edition with Donkey Kong on the cover. Just a big middle finger to me and my financial security in these financially uncertain times. Maybe we're not getting the European version because of the Trump tariffs. I don't really know. Although that shouldn't affect you up in Canada. So I don't really know what's going on. It's frustrating though. So we're doing Mario Tennis Aces first because it's just as simple. I just run out and buy it. I could buy it at Best Buy or GameStop or Target. And that's what I did. And I have to say, Shane, I don't like the cover of the game. I like so much about this game. This is an inferior box art. It just has Mario and Peach in their tennis attire. Peach's tennis attire is just a short skirt on her usual and short and like sleeveless on her usual princess outfit, and Mario's dressed like, Frasier playing squash from off of Frasier. But yeah, there's shockingly little Donkey Kong on this box art.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on the cover. I like the way it looks. It doesn't look like your typical Mario sports cover. Like, it's dark and has neon light. I guess it looks kind of like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But there's no Donkey Kong, so...
Yeah. Donkey Kong appears in a screenshot on the back. And luckily, it's a view of his magnificent backside, even if it's being obscured a little bit by him swinging the tennis racket. The motion of the tennis racket is obscuring his glorious, beautiful buttocks. But at least Camelot knows enough to, that the Donkey Kong fans, if we appreciate anything, it's gratuitous ass shots. I wanted to do a spotlight episode, not a spotlight episode, a first impressions episode. I'm getting so mixed up in our nomenclature. We have so many variations on these episodes at this point. I wanted to get a first impressions episode in because this is the first Mario sports title I have been enthused and excited about in quite some time, probably since... I was excited about the golf for the 3DS, but I didn't enjoy it in practice so much. Probably since the GameCube era, that whole era of like, you had the baseball games with all the characters in it. You had the soccer games or football games. You had golf and tennis. At that point, the most definitive version of Camelot's golf and tennis. And, Chad and I, DK Vine, we've always been huge fans of Camelot because Camelot, they're different from other developers who have made Mario sports titles in that they take the core essence of their chosen sport, and Camelot's been mired in golf and tennis since the N64, but they do them so well, and they not only bring golf and tennis and what makes them compelling sports, that not only do they bring them to life in such an addictive form of gameplay, but they do it while also celebrating so fully the world that these games take place in. And that includes the Mushroom Kingdom and a lot of times Donkey Kong Island. And Camelot has been on the record, their president has been on the record. I don't know if he's still the president of Camelot, but at one time, Camelot wanted to develop a 3D Donkey Kong game, a successor to Donkey Kong 64. And they've been quite open about their fandom of Donkey Kong, and that really does come through in how they portray the Kongs in their games.
Yeah, they even in the Mario Golf for 3DS, they even included the character Yu in the same sort of row as Donkey and Diddy.
Mm-hmm. Clearly, because they know Yu has his or her roots in It's Mr. Pants, which is, of course, a beloved game show on Donkey Kong Island. Camelot would know this. How could they not? So anyway, yeah, Mario Golf for the N64, it came out like a couple months before Donkey Kong 64. It came out, I think, August of 1999, and I have so many fond, if not frantic, memories of trying to beat that game the weekend before Donkey Kong 64 came out, because this was before video games came out on, like, before Nintendo games came out on Friday. They would often come out on, like, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending on when stores actually received their shipment. So I remember Friday through Sunday frantically trying to finish Mario Golf for the N64. This is before we knew Mario Golf for Game Boy Color actually featured a cameo appearance by Donkey Kong. So I thought this is all I had to do. But I remember just, like, playing it nonstop that weekend, and it was just mesmerizing and magical, like, between the music and the courses, and that actually had very limited Donkey Kong content in it besides Donkey Kong being playable, but it really made Mario's world so appealing to me. And you know I have a reputation, Shane, of being hard on Mario and not liking Mario and the franchise. But when Mario is done in a very particular way, I find it very enticing. And
oh yeah, I feel the same way.
I'm not, a huge Mario guy, and obviously I will always prefer Donkey Kong's world. We know it's canonically a separate world now, right? Thanks to Mario plus Rabbids. Have I discussed this on a conversation yet? Because I feel like I should discuss this on a conversation.
I think you did during the E3 episodes.
Oh, okay. Maybe the wrap-up episode? I forget when this actually was revealed.
I actually think you started an episode by announcing that it was now canon that Donkey Kong Island was in another dimension.
Okay.
And then you went on to that episode's topic.
God, that sounds like something I would do. I can't remember because I'm so very, very tired. Did I mention I have 4 or 5 videos in production right now? And we're also trying to redo the site, and oh god, I need help, Shane. I need help. No, but I prefer, Donkey Kong Island and the Rare Archipelago and that whole environment to the Mushroom Kingdom. But Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario's Tennis for the Virtual Boy, ironically enough, is another one where I just find the way the Mushroom Kingdom is presented to be magical. Mario Kart 64 is another good example. And all of Camelot's games. All of Camelot's games. I can get on board with this Mushroom Kingdom.
For me, it would be Camelot's games, Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart 8, and the Galaxy games and Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Sunshine, I guess, but that's not really Mushroom Kingdom. It feels like magical in its own way.
I really like when the fairy tale aspects of the Mushroom Kingdom are leaned into more, I have to say. I don't know why that is, but I really like it when they do portray it as a magical kingdom, unless, I don't know, unless rote, unless, like, more matter-of-fact, like, well, yeah, here's some fucking toads, and here's some Goombas and Koopa Troopas, and Mario, right? Bricks. Yeah. No, I like when the fantasy elements of this weird dimension are played up, and I really feel like Camelot, they do a good job of mixing, like, the mundane, like, day-to-day, like, oh yeah, we've got golf courses here, with the fantastical. And that's almost like a very rare thing, in that they mix the mundane with the fantastical, however less fantastic, of their world. Like, we really understand kind of how, say, Banjo and Kazooie live their lives, even if it's in this ridiculous landscape. You get a sense of, if I were a citizen of Spiral Mountain or the Isle of Hags, I could see how my day-to-day life would exist. and I can imagine myself living there. And I can do that with Donkey Kong Island, and I can do that with the Mushroom Kingdom in Camelot's games. Anyway,
I'm sorry, I just think you're really going to enjoy a Kingdom Battle.
I'm looking forward to it. I really want to play it. So I really want to play it. And I just don't know. My OCD, my crippling OCD will not let me choose a method of which to buy it yet. And it's really, I thought about just tweeting like Davide Soliani and saying, yo, what's up with this? Maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway. Mario, Tennis for the N64, I did not enjoy as much, but I still appreciated it. It was really the Game Boy Color games of that era, the RPGs, that really sucked me in and made me appreciate the depth of what Camelot does. They're almost as focused on the details as Rare is when it comes to their games. The little details that hyper-partisan weirdos like me, and I guess like you, Shane, really do pick up on and appreciate the world building that goes into what they do does not go unnoticed. And then when we went with the GameCube era and the Game Boy Advance era, and we got Mario Golf Toadstool Tour and Mario Power Tennis, I love those games almost equally. They were, up until this point, they were the definitive versions of golf and tennis you could get in the Mario line, the cameo games, the Mario sports games. Toadstool Tour, of course, was the first cameo game, the first non-rare game to have Diddy Kong in it. If you really want to see how much Camelot loves Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong characters, they put Diddy Kong in even before Double Dash. I mean, of course, I think Double Dash picked Diddy first, but Toadstool Tour got to him first due to the release schedule. And
yeah, for a while I thought Double Dash was going to be Diddy's first, and then Toadstool Tour came out, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. And Toadstool Tour, Toadstool Tour, of course, had Congo Canopy, which was such a brilliant golf course that took place in the Congo jungle, but it took place in the treetops. It was just the perfect mixture of, like, what Rare does. Oh yeah, Donkey Kong Island, of course it has a golf course. Of course the Congo jungle has a golf course. It takes place in the trees, and it's just a little bit crazy, but when you see it portrayed, when you see how it works, it just kind of makes perfect sense. Like, of course, a bunch of monkeys would make a golf course like this in a very thick jungle where they don't want to deforest it. Yeah, put a golf course in the trees. Why not? And then Power Tennis, which I guess is more applicable to the topic at hand. Power Tennis was fantastic. And I'm more of a golf guy than a tennis guy. You know, I've got my membership to Mar-a-Lago, of course, as you well know, Shane. But
oh, I know all about that.
The Winter White House is my preferred golfing destination. I don't really play golf in real life. My dad plays golf, and you know, when I still lived at home, I would go golfing with him on occasion. But I much prefer miniature golf. Now that I'm an adult, I much prefer miniature golf. One, because it's cheap and I'm not playing with a bunch of waspy assholes. And two, miniature golf appeals to me because it has themes. Here in Virginia, Virginia Beach has 2 miniature golf courses which are side by side, Shane.
Yeah, there's a pirate one and a jungle one.
How the fuck do you know that?
I listened to the Kongversation.
But how do you remember that? I don't even remember if I told that on the Kongversation. Jesus. And I pride myself on having a very good memory. So there's jungle golf facing off with pirate golf. You can see why this appeals to me, because it's Donkey Kong Island versus Crocodile Isle. So whenever my wife and I vacation in Virginia Beach, we try to go every summer, just because we have, I mean, it's kind of a tacky, touristy kind of beach, but it's clean and it's close. It's, you know, it's in the same state as us. So we like to go, and yeah, so we try to play jungle golf and pirate golf, like, both. Because we have to play both. And, yeah, I love miniature golf. And, anyway, good lord, I'm getting off topic here. Tennis! Yeah. Even though I prefer golf, Mario Power Tennis really, really just was such a good game. Such a perfect game in a lot of ways that I didn't think Camelot would be able to top it. I didn't think Camelot would be able to come out with a console game after that and be like, okay, this is better than Mario Power Tennis. At the very least, I thought we would just get a remixed version of Mario Power Tennis. And my opinion on this matter wasn't helped by Ultra Smash, which had less than Mario Power Tennis. Ultra Smash is just this grand anomaly.
I think Ultra Smash had less than the original Mario Tennis.
Yeah, Ultra Smash...
I mean, the original Mario Tennis at least had that course where you were at Bowser's Castle and it was tilting and stuff. I don't think Ultra Smash has anything like that.
Ultra Smash is such a what the fuck in Camelot's output. And, you know, Chad and I discussed this a bit. I discussed this quite a bit with the DK Vine staff and the people I associate with in the inner circle, and I've discussed this. I remember Mitchell Wolf and I discussed this during E3. I've had this discussion. How did Ultra Smash happen? And the only thing...
It's widely theorized, and you were probably about to say this, that when Zelda got delayed, Nintendo needed a holiday game with one of their icons on it, so they just had Camelot put out the engine they made for their game, which we eventually got with Aces.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, Ultra Smash was rushed out. Camelot did not get to put the sheen on it, the shine, that they normally
Wait, no, I found something. I found a message board post. Oh. It says, all the good people left Camelot.
Oh, fuck. Should have seen that coming.
Oh, well, I believe it. It was on a message board.
It was on a message board. All the good people left Camelot. And they went to they went to form. I can't think of any other tennis games. Unfortunately, I was going to make a joke about, but I really am ignorant when it comes to any other tennis games.
There is another high profile tennis game that's coming out. There was like a scandal where it turned out they made it within a few weeks and it's really bad. So that's probably why you haven't heard of it. It's called like Tennis World Tour or something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so all the good people left to make that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, anyway, after the 3DS golf game, I keep calling it the 3DS golfing game because it made so little impact on me besides the Congo Jungle golf course that I cannot even remember its goddamn name. Something like, I don't know. 3DS golf, that's fine, whatever. But after that, it was kind of underwhelming in comparison to Toadstool Tour, and then we had Ultra Smash, and then it was just like, and Camelot also contributed to the Mario Sports, what was it, the 3DS game that came out last year with the pony racing, the Mario Sports Pony Racing, whatever. Camelot also contributed to the golf and tennis in that game. But it just felt like Camelot was kind of becoming a shell of themselves. And, well, with this game, it's abundantly clear that was not fair. It was circumstantial. When left to their own devices, when given the time to release a quality product, Camelot can still outperform their best past releases. Mario Tennis...
That kind of reminds me of another studio.
Obviously, we're talking about Free Radical, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They've put out some great stuff.
Yeah.
No, and all the good ones went to Free Radical, which was formed before Banjo-Kazooie came out.
Yeah. Obviously, the rare comparisons in my head haven't gone unnoticed. When you let Camelot be Camelot, just like when you let Rare be Rare, they're capable of some high-quality magic. And Mario Tennis Aces is a better game than Mario Fuck. There's too many games in my head right now. Mario Power Tennis. Is that Mario? The GameCube one.
Mario Power Tennis.
I was right. Okay. Too many. Like, if they just number them, there's something to be said, I guess, for sequential numbering like Mario Party used to do, because you could pull it out like that. But there's too many weird naming conventions now. And it doesn't help that Ultra Smash sounds like it should be better than Mario Tennis Aces. So I keep trying to like default to that. I'm like, no. Mario Tennis Aces is the new one. Ultra Smash with the shitty Wii U one. Okay. Yeah, Mario Tennis Aces is better than Mario Power Tennis. And not just better, substantially better. And I never thought I could say that again. The reason Mario Tennis Aces is better is that it adds even more depth of gameplay than even Mario Power Tennis has. And it adds a story mode. And I was a bit on the fence about the story mode when it was announced. I was excited to see it. But obviously, when you say this is the first Mario Tennis game to have a story mode since the Game Boy Advance game, you're like, okay, but the Game Boy Advance game was an RPG. So unless you're going to give me RPG-style gameplay, that's not a fair comparison to make. This is still going to be watered down and scaled back. This is not going to be as intriguing as the RPG and the whole, like, the weird... Like, here are these wholly original characters, and you get to pick one, and you get to level them up, and you're in this environment where, like, tennis, the only thing that matters to these characters is tennis, or in the golf games, golf. It's just weird, and it's intriguing, and it's cool to see this slice of world that exists in the Mario universe that is just centered around this one particular fetish. As a guy who runs a Donkey Kong Universe website, that notion is appealing to me. Somebody who is just... these people who are so obsessed over this one singular thing that their entire lives revolve around that, and they built up an entire community around that. I find that appealing and comforting to my worldview. Alright, so anyway. Come to find out, the story mode in Mario Tennis Aces, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, Shane. It is.
Yeah. When I first saw a video of the adventure mode, I was like, "Why are people getting hyped? This isn't an RPG. It looks like the story mode from the baseball games." But then I played it.
Yes, and I have not completed it. I am kind of savoring it because it is so delightful.
Oh yeah, me too. Have you met Donkey Kong yet, though?
Oh, of course I had to beat Donkey Kong, which was one of the most painful experiences in any Mario Tennis game. Almost as painful as trying to justify why Donkey Kong Jr. could be Donkey Kong's double partner in the original one for the N64. Yeah, I had to beat Donkey Kong as Mario. And I was hoping at that point, like, you could then choose to play as Donkey Kong in story mode. You can't, but whatever. I justified it as Donkey Kong having a head cold that day, and so Mario was able to beat him. So
I mean, I'm weirdly okay with this. Like, it's Mario's story, and I don't hate that I have to play as him because it's a good Mario game.
I'm still hyper partisan when it comes to Donkey Kong, and I wish I could play. I wish you could play story mode as any of the characters. I understand why you can't. Or
if they sort of did a thing where there's different stories for each character, but that would require more dev time or to sort of butcher the one they have. So
yeah, and it's good that we don't have like the justification where you would have to face a mirrored version of the character when inevitably you come to the map, and it's like in Smash Brothers, I can justify that because Master Hand created a clone, whatever. But in this story, it's you can't have as well. I was gonna say you can't have as far-fetched notions as Master Hand and the Chest of Time, but this is a pretty bonkers story. This is I mentioned this on social media. This is this kind of story is basically reads like my fan fiction when Mario Kart 64 came out, and I wanted to justify how Donkey Kong and Mario could be appearing in the same game together when clearly they took place in separate dimensions, which ultimately 22 years later, I was proven right about. 23 years later, no, 22.
Yeah, suck
20,
it, Planet Cool.
21 years later. Sorry, math is hard. So I remember I came up with this story, and we actually had it up on DK Vine for a time when we launched DK Vine, about the dimensions of the mushroom world and Earth bleeding into each other, like dimensional collision. And the only way to set things right was to earn a power trophy, a magical trophy that could mend the dimensional bleed. This is what I came up with when I was like in 7th grade. So yeah, ultimately I backed away from that, although not in my head, I still believe it. But this story reads almost exactly like that, in that if this were presented to me without context, and Camelot hadn't provided the context for this story back in, say, 1997 or 1998, this could very well read like the story I would have come up with back then. It's ludicrous, Shane. It is ludicrous. So
I love it.
Do you want to describe? I will let you try to describe. I will chip in when applicable, but try to describe to the people listening what the hell the story mode of Mario Tennis Aces is all about.
So, it just starts with a tennis game against, I don't remember. I think it was Mario and Peach versus Bowser and Bowser Jr., but then Wario and Waluigi show up.
Yeah, so it starts in media res. Basically, it starts, like, there's already the newest Mario Tennis competition or grand sports event. It's already kicked off, and you're already like seeing one of like the climatic matchups, double matchups, Mario and Peach versus I think you're right, Bowser and Bowser Jr. And this is this is the way the game starts. Like, Camelot has a tradition of starting all of their sports games with a great cinematic opening, and usually it involves Wario and Waluigi, because of course Camelot has an affinity for Waluigi because they were the ones who created Waluigi. So Wario and Waluigi getting up to some hijinks and some mischief, and these are always famously done so well, and it's always great to see what is Camelot's cinematic opening for their game. This one, though, it's surprising because this sets up story mode and takes you directly into it when you first boot up the game. Like, before you even see any menu, before you see anything, you're just launched into story mode. If you want to play a matchup between friends, or if you just want to do a quick round of tennis, you have to exit out of this. I love how the game basically presents to you, this is story mode. This is the main chunk of the game. This is what matters as far as continuity and canon goes. Here you go. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So Wario and Waluigi, they say it's like the most powerful racket, and they offer it, I believe, to Mario and Peach for winning the match. It's been about a month. But then Luigi takes this racket, and it possesses him. And it possesses Wario and Waluigi. So Mario and Toad go to these ruins, and they you do a match against Dry Bones. And then you learn that many years ago, this racket, was used by a king, I want to say. Am I right, Hyle?
So, okay. Wario and Waluigi, they show up, but their eyes are purple. So, they're already possessed by this legend.
They looked baked.
Well, yes. And, if Funky Kong were in it, if this were Donkey Kong Tennis Aces, and Funky Kong was the one to show up, you would just be like, oh, Funky's stoned out of his mind. That's why he always wears those sunglasses. But, no, yeah, they show up, they got purple eyes, and they have this, this purple like ornate racket. And I realized after the fact that it's essentially the Infinity Gauntlet from off of Marvel.
Yeah. Now I remember the king took the racket's power, and he split it between 5 power stones or Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones, yeah. This is essentially the plot for the new Avengers movie. I haven't completed story mode, so I don't know if it ends the same way. That would be pretty bleak if this was actually part 1 of 2 Aces games, and it ends with can I say spoilers for the new Avengers? Spoilers for the new Avengers movie. Plug your ears if you don't want to hear this. If it ends with half of the Mario cast turning to ash, that would be great. If not, obviously a carbon copy at this point. But considering this game was in development at the same time the new Avengers movie was, maybe there's that kismic level of cosmic irony, like Ants in A Bug's Life or Deep Impact in Armageddon. That whole like two very similar projects in development at the exact same time. Maybe this is Infinity War's answer to that. To be seen for us, we don't really know. Now you're so okay. This initial tennis match, I feel like we're underselling how ludicrous this is.
Maybe that's why Diddy Kong is not going to be playable until a few months from now, because in the story mode, Diddy Kong turns to ash, and Donkey Kong gets really sad.
Yeah, he has to rectify the mistake. He has to rectify the. I wouldn't be Thanos in this story. It would be whoever is the main attack. Well, the racket is called Lucian or Lucian. I don't know how you write it.
That's why I didn't say the racket's name. I was worried I'd get it wrong, and people would be like, "No, it's the other way."
Yeah, all those Lucian fans out there are gonna get so irate. No, so the initial tennis match is in Marina Stadium, and if you don't know where Marina Stadium is, I believe it's invented for this game. This whole story mode and the entire setting of Mario Tennis Aces takes place in a location called the Kingdom of Basque, which is an entirely new locale in the Mushroom World. It's an islands that takes place somewhere in the grand Mushroom World, somewhere, in the ocean, across the way from Yoshi's Island, or, wherever. But the Kingdom of Basque was this ancient culture that basically worshipped the game that we know as tennis. And so even if you want to retcon it as, Mario was the one that brought tennis to the Mushroom Kingdom, when of course he came back as an adult and fell through the warp pipe back to the Mushroom Kingdom on a routine plumbing job, as chronicled in the original arcade version of Mario Brothers. Obviously, he was born in the Mushroom World, as seen in Yoshi's Island, but as we all know, he eventually had to make his way to Brooklyn, and so the events of the Donkey Kong arcade trilogy could take place. But anyway, so even if you want to say Mario reintroduced tennis to the Mushroom World, there was still a game much like tennis that was played and basically worshipped in the Kingdom of Basque. And in the Kingdom of Basque, they developed this legendary racket called Lucian, and the Lucian eventually brought the Kingdom of Basque to ruin. And so the king of the Kingdom of Basque stripped Lucian of its power and then split up that power within the 5 Infinity Stones and spread them out across the Kingdom of Basque. And so Wario and Waluigi, being the treasure-hungry gold sniffers that they are, they uncovered this racket and it possessed them. Lucian possessed them. Whatever power was left within Lucian possessed them, and then possessed Luigi and claimed them all in this huge storm. that I think is supposed to be representative of the spirit of Lucian within the racket. Anyway, so Mario and Toad are... Oh yeah. Daisy's also there in the story, and it's kind of sexist because Peach and Daisy are like, we're gonna come with you, Mario. We're gonna figure out what's going on. Daisy's like, my man Luigi has just been possessed by an ancient entity. We need to get on the bottom of this. And then Toad shows up, and Toad's like, nuh-uh, we can't have you two princesses going adventuring. And he tries to sell it as, your people need you. But I think it's more along the lines of, we don't need no women folk exploring the ancient ruins. I want to have some bro time with Mario. Leave this to us.
Oh,
yeah. Toad is a sexist. Please spread that
Major
on social media.
sexist.
Please spread that on social media. That this essentially...
Hashtag Toad is a sexist.
This essentially genderless chunk of fungus is a huge misogynist. Misogynist. Let's get that trending on social media. We need to really, really bring Toad down. So anyway, they find these ruins. The what is it called? Is it the Temple of Basque or Ancient Ruins?
I want to say it is the Temple of Basque or Basque Ruins.
Basque Ruins.
Basque
What
Ruins.
does Basque even mean? I love how just nonsensical this is. Like, it's just Camelot.
I would kind of get it if it was a basketball game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like they could have called it the Kingdom of Tenai or the Kingdom of Ten or something like that. But no, it's the Kingdom of Basque. I really feel like Camelot got fucking high before they set out to write this story. And I love it. This is just so weird that this is your tennis game. Anyway.
I really want them to make Donkey Kong Golf more than ever.
Oh, God. And can you imagine what they would do with Donkey Kong? Like the lore they would add to it? So, in these ancient ruins, a spirit named Aster... Like, what the fuck? A spirit named Aster tells Mario the story, the tragedy of the Kingdom of Basque, and sets him off to find the 5 Power Stones. Anyway, so that's the story, and so the way the story mode is structured, it's a map screen. You mentioned the baseball games, and it's very similar to that. But it's structured like a platforming game. And here, I wasn't sold on this beforehand because I basically thought, okay, it's going to be a bunch of tennis matches, but on a map screen. And as much as I appreciate that, I can see right through it a little bit. It's basically gussing up a campaign mode or a tournament mode. And it's not that at all, Shane. It's kind of clever the way they structure this because, one, you've developed this whole bullshit ancient society that worships tennis. So ergo, in true Camelot fashion, you've got a reason for tennis being the fetish of the land. You've got a reason why tennis is what everybody's doing and talking about. The fact that the antagonist is a haunted, spooky racket just helps tie it all together. But more than that, the justifications they come up with, the individual justifications they come up with for why these characters have to suddenly play tennis in each scenario, on each location on the map screen, I really do appreciate that because it's not just tennis match. There are different reasons. Sometimes it's just a straight one-on-one tennis match, like with Donkey Kong. And so you're entering a forest strewn with piranha plants. And Donkey Kong is there, presumably because this was right in the middle of this new tennis tournament in Marina Stadium in this island that once held the Kingdom of Basque. So Donkey Kong, of course, was invited. So he's just hanging around. He's kind of sightseeing. Donkey Kong, of course, would go off and kind of explore. the forest, because that's what Donkey Kong does. And so Donkey Kong stops Mario and Toad and he says, well, he doesn't really say anything. This is all kind of interpreted by Toad. The one thing I don't like about this is it's really playing up, which Nintendo is still trying to make a thing, that Donkey Kong does not speak any language but gorilla grunts, and it's up to the other characters to interpret them, which is basically everything, how he's been portrayed as of late in the Mario sports games, but it's not how things are really portrayed in the actual Donkey Kong games. And, you know, you've got this whole notion that the characters are actually speaking Kong, but we know that, as seen in earlier games, that doesn't really work, because we've heard the Kongs actually speak English, and we've heard them interact with characters we know are speaking English, so that doesn't really work. They have to actually know English or whatever your native home language is. So I just kind of brush this aside, as sometimes Donkey Kong doesn't really want to talk. But, he basically warns Mario. Donkey Kong's very protective here, and he's basically saying, Mario, you're not equipped to go through this spooky ass forest. I don't feel like it's safe for you, Mario, legendary savior of the Mushroom Kingdom, to go through this forest. It's fine for me, Donkey Kong, because I'm a registered badass, but you, Mario, You're too delicate, and I'm afraid you're gonna get killed if you walk through this haunted-ass forest. So me, Donkey Kong, I say, I'm stopping you right here. You can't go through this forest unless you prove to me that you're capable of it with awesome tennis skills.
I just kind of saw it as Donkey Kong was, like, being really kind-hearted and protective of his good friend Mario, but okay. I like that better.
Well, there's that, but it also kind of plays up with my own personal canon, in that Mario always fails in tennis against Donkey Kong. So Donkey Kong, knowing this is a kingdom that basically gives fellatio to tennis on a routine basis, this ancient magical kingdom where tennis is the object of desire for everyone, boy and girl, young and old alike. Donkey Kong's like, I have won every tennis game we have ever played, Mario. From the one back in 1999 up until the one just a couple years ago that was kind of underwhelming. I have won everything, Mario. I know you're not equipped to go through this forest. I am, but you aren't. So...
is it your headcanon that Donkey Kong was not in the tournament that we saw at the beginning of the game?
So, yeah, I haven't really reconciled that yet, because here's the thing, though. Like, story mode is the main motivator of the canon of this game, and as you unlock things throughout story mode, those arenas then become unlocked in the regular modes as well. So I feel like they're going to have a do-over of the tournament that we saw, that we joined in media res at the beginning of the game. So I feel like maybe Donkey Kong, either he didn't participate. If it was the doubles tournament, we know Diddy is going to join the game later this fall, but Diddy Kong's not there yet, so maybe Donkey Kong couldn't join. This is me fan-wanking on the fly here, Shane. Maybe Diddy Kong, because he arrived late, Donkey Kong could not register in the doubles tournament, which is what we saw, which is what was interrupted by the spooky-ass racket, Lucian. So maybe Donkey Kong instead went to explore the forest, and when Diddy Kong does join, and they do a do-over of the whole doubles tournament, then Donkey Kong can register. So no, Donkey Kong's not part of that.
Oh, that makes complete sense.
That makes complete sense, right? Okay, woo! Yeah, it always feels good when I'm able to fan-wank live on the Kongversation without a safety net, and I don't fall. It's trapeze, baby, trapeze. So anyway, but I guess Donkey Kong was a little shaken by the events, by the fact that this is suddenly Indiana Jones meets The Exorcist meets Ghostbusters meets The Avengers. And Donkey Kong's a little shaken up by this is not your traditional tennis game in the Mushroom World. And so he loses to Mario, but that proves to him that Mario's got what it takes to go through the Piranha Plant Forest. So you've got scenarios like that, which I'm fine with. And I love how it does portray Donkey Kong in a very positive light. Camelot understands that Donkey Kong is heroic. Camelot never portrays Donkey Kong in any sort of antagonistic way of, well, traditionally he's a Mario villain, so we gotta portray him as a villain, which is how he's portrayed in some cameo games. But here...
Yeah, the ones where he's brainwashed by the TV.
Well, yeah, of course. But here, Donkey Kong is protective of Mario. Almost... And it's almost like you could view it as patronizing, but it's almost like Donkey Kong knows he's a little bit more skilled at this shit than Mario, so he's looking out for his buddy, who he's a hero and whatever, but he's got to make sure Mario, the mascot of Nintendo, can handle this Piranha Plant Forest. I love that. So even though Donkey Kong loses here, Donkey Kong is still portrayed positively and in a way that I think puts him up on a little bit of a pedestal. Maybe I'm just reading into things because I love Camelot and I love Donkey Kong, but...
Oh no, you're not reading into things. All of this. They thought about all of this.
But then you've got like things like when you go through the Piranha Plant Forest and you actually encounter piranha plants, and then you're kind of left with this... It would be like a mini game, but I don't know if that's selling it short. So you've got this spot on the map screen where you've got to destroy all of the piranha plants with your tennis racket, but there's no tennis ball involved. There's no tennis court involved. They're shooting fireballs at you because they're piranha plants.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about that one. It's a great use of a tennis engine in a game that has more than tennis.
And it's a way to use your tennis skills in an environment without having it just be, now we have tennis match. Now we have tennis match. It actually brings a little bit more depth and world building to the kingdom of Basque than just, we have tennis match. We have tennis match. And it's hard for a game like that to do this. But this is why I absolutely adore Camelot, because they think outside of the box. They think in creative ways like this, and they do care about world building. So you've got a environment where Mario is equipped with a tennis racket. He's got tennis on the brain, and all of a sudden these piranha plants are shooting fireballs at him. So he's going to knock the fireballs back at them and try to clear his path by destroying all of them with his tennis racket. It's brilliant, and you have to use like your skills. You have to use different lobs, different shots to try to get the right angle on these piranha plants. And occasionally these piranha plants will shoot these charged shots that can break your racket. You've got to I think destroy 30 piranha plants in a limited amount of time. But it's just great. And because of that, you never know what you're exactly going to get on each spot on the map screen. So it doesn't just become, I'm playing tennis. I am playing tennis on my Switch. I am playing tennis with Mario characters. This is tennis, but with Mario characters. Oh,
glorified Pong with Mario characters.
Oh, look, there is Donkey Kong. I enjoy Donkey Kong. I have played games with Donkey Kong. Now Donkey Kong has a tennis racket. This is not Ultra Smash.
Do you need another caffeine pill?
No. I would if I were playing Ultra Smash, but god damn it, Shane, Mario Tennis Aces just charges me up, and I want to talk about it.
Have you played Ultra Smash?
No.
I played it at a Best Buy Wii U demo a few years ago, and I believe I got everything out of the game that I could have in those 5 minutes.
No, I watched videos of it, and I might have actually played a demo of it. It left so little of an impact on me if I did that I do not remember. But I just everything about the game was so chronically underwhelming. And Mario Tennis Aces, it is making me excited about a Mario sports game again. I feel like I'm back in high school, or at the very least, I feel like this is the GameCube era, and I'm like, oh look, they've added Diddy Kong. Oh look, there's claptraps and critters here. Like this is, but there's none of that. Like Diddy Kong will be joining the game later this fall, but there's no trips to Donkey Kong Island here. This is just all on
that we know of,
but there is, it's so far, it's just all centralized on this one location in the Mushroom World. But I want to know more about this location. It almost reminds me of the first Mario Party game, still my favorite Mario Party game. And just that it like had the whole Mushroom Village, and it had Minigame Island, and it provided like this level of world building within the Mario world that was creative and had a lot of heart and thought and made me excited about that little sliver of a world I don't otherwise get lathered up about all that much.
Oh, yeah, Mario Party. I am not a Mario Party fan, but I really like Mario Party 1 for its atmosphere and its world building, and the soundtrack by Yasunori Mitsuda. Mm-hmm. It helps a lot with that.
Yeah, Mario. We're not going to get on a Mario Party tangent here, but Mario, because oh my god, next year we have to do the spotlight episode for the original Mario Party. I'm looking forward to that actually, but Mario Party and Mario Party 2 had world building, but each like successive Mario Party game had less and less captivating world building. Until the point, like, you always have a story, you always have like context for what's happening, but it gets less and less inspired with each game. And I think Mario Party 2 had the whole, like, this is all like a stage presentation, but it still introduced the concept of Mario World, which I've utilized for fanwanks numerous times since then. Mario Party 3 was the first one that said, this just all takes place in a toy chest. And that was the first one that basically said, yeah, we're not giving you much with this game. We're not giving you much world building that's going to last here. This is all just temporary. None of this matters. Don't get too excited about any of the environments you're seeing. None of it is real. So, and then Mario Party 4 had like the Party Cube, which was all a VR simulation. Yeah, so I appreciate when cameo games and Mario competition games and Mario sports games add to the tapestry that is Mario and or Donkey Kong when applicable. Because it gives me, a lore hound, a continuity guy, something to get excited about. And not only is there something to get excited about with this game, but the gameplay, Shane, is... Okay, so Mario, it's glorified Pong, but there is so much nuance, and there's so much for me to learn here, Shane, that I am pretty cocky.
I still don't really remember all the actions.
No, I don't. So I'm usually pretty damn cocky when it comes to Mario Tennis. I 100% completed Mario Power Tennis, and I retain those skills, that muscle memory. When I played Aces at E3, I fucking crushed. We played a doubles match. It was me paired up with 3 other people. I was Donkey Kong, and I did a doubles match. I was partnered with Waluigi. And we did a doubles match with these other people, and I dominated them. Like, it wasn't even close. We just crushed them, and, I mean, I'm not, like, giving myself a handy here when I say... Like, I was awesome. And I'm the guy who is, like, completely, like, trounced in Smash Ultimate by Memechi. So I'm not one to really brag about my skills. Like, playing Sea of Thieves. Watch our stream of Thieves. You'll see how, like, inept I am when it comes to PvP. I am just, like, laughably bad. But Mario Tennis... I like that's one area where I feel like I am legitimately good. Shane, you and I played about an hour or hour and a half before we recorded this. We played a match together because, you know, it's got online capabilities and Nintendo is in the modern age now, and we can play online. And we played a match together, Donkey Kong versus Donkey Kong, of course. And
I was a bit shocked by the fidelity.
Yeah, there wasn't any of the issues that, I mean, you even had in, like, the 3DS Online. I remember being spotty with Smash 3DS. I remember playing that a few times and just not being impressed. This was seamless. This was just like playing with somebody in your living room. But
basically,
I realize how much I have to learn still with this. How much of a challenge this game is presenting me. I, being the cocky son of a bitch who walked into this and was able to, like, crush strangers at E3. My God, I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with, like, blocking the power shots, because now if somebody sends you, like, too powerful of a shot, if you get hit with it 3 times, it can break your racket. So you have to, like, get the timing exactly right to return it with enough force where it won't hurt your racket. And stuff like that. There's all sorts of new power shots. There's all sorts, which, Mario Power Tennis introduced that, but this takes it to another level.
Something I'm still getting used to is, much like a fighting game, the 4 face buttons will actually have you swing your racket at different heights and, like, different ways.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I, by habit, I still keep using the A button.
Yeah, so, like, initially we were pretty well matched, Shane, and then you started, like, breaking out all these power shots, and that's, you caught me with my pants down, and you actually bested me. So...
Oh, I was gonna leave it vague and just say Donkey Kong won.
Well, and that did make the bitter pill go down easier, knowing that no matter what happens, Donkey Kong would win. So... Like, at least I didn't have any shameful displays on my own Switch of Donkey Kong having to lose or anything. And you probably did beat me because you played me with Donkey. If you played as any other character, I would have beaten you, because Donkey Kong is inarguably the best. The very best. But yeah, there is so much to learn, and there's so much... Like, you brought up the fighting game comparison, and this is very much like a fighting game. It's an easy game to pick up. It is a very difficult game to master. And I feel like that nuance has never really been in any of the Camelot tennis games. Like, to an extent, it has. Like I said, Power Tennis introduced the power shots, introduced a little bit more complicated gameplay, but there is so much nuance, and there are so many ways to return shots, so many things to keep track of now, but it never feels like it's overly complicated. It never feels like you're button mashing. It never feels like it's necessarily unfair. It's just deeper ways to play Mario Tennis. And like I said, I didn't think Camelot would ever find a way to improve on the Power Tennis formula, but with the gameplay, and especially with the so far brilliant story mode. By the way, in story mode, you do level up. So there is experience that's earned. So even if you lose a match or lose a challenge, you still gain experience from it, and you still level up your skills and strength. So I do appreciate that, even if there's that level of frustration where you can't get over a particular stage, you're still getting something out of it, and you're still bettering your character. In this case, it's just Mario in the story mode, but still. There is that level of the RPG elements carried over from the Game Boy games in story mode. Whew! So let me check in with the live stream chat real quick, because I feel like I've been giving them the short shift as we've been just talking about ancient kingdoms and demons possessing rackets and whatnot. Cameron Regal says Donkey Kong versus Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's on the Donkey Kong. I would definitely buy that game. Godzilla Guy says, at least you're not inept at ukulele. At least as so far as any of us know. Yeah, inept. Whenever I mention being inept, I did think of the ukulele toy box character, also in Galleon Galaxy, and he's still counting up to something. We don't really know what. Godzilla Guy also wants to point out that considering the breadth of Mario's vocabulary or lack thereof, maybe Donkey Kong actually is speaking English and it's the other characters who can't understand him. That would be great if like Mario, like the Mushroom Kingdom cast has gotten so lazy with like their shorthand of hoo-hoos and what have you, that they've completely like developed their own like Swahili like language, and it's Donkey Kong who's like very verbose and articulate in speaking English. Not that people speaking Swahili can't be articulate and verbose in their own native language. I'm just saying in comparison, that was very European centric of me, and I do apologize. I apologize. I apologize. Please don't crucify me.
Don't make me bring out the hashtag.
Please don't crucify me on social media. Toad is the one we're targeting, people. Keep your eyes
Toad
on
is
the
sexist.
prize. Toad is a sexist. Oh, Captain Cheesebag, in defense of Mario Party 2, says it brought us the 1 versus 3 minigame tree. And it did bring us that.
Love that guy.
Yeah, so like I still hold up Mario Party 2 as being a very good Mario Party game. It's not as good as Mario Party, but I would never say Mario Party 2 is a game I dislike.
I think 2 might be the popular one with the Mario Party fan base, but yeah. I see a lot of Mario Party 3 fans as well. Whereas back in the day, it was sort of 1, 2, and 6. It's kind of changed to just the N64 ones are the good ones.
Yeah. So I understand that viewpoint, but for me, Mario Party, you could buy a parrot and have the parrot like give you the character voices and sound effects. So ergo, Mario Party 1 wins because Mario Party 1 essentially had an animal buddy in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, for me, that Mitsuda soundtrack, same guy who composed Chrono Trigger, actually.
Oh, yeah, Chrono Trigger in my SNES Classic. Oh, no, it's not in my SNES Classic.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember talking about that with Josh Wallen from Off the Geek Critique and being kind of shocked that Chrono Trigger wasn't in it, because Chrono Trigger is that one of those games that's like, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Trigger. And I remember it being like such a bandied about game in my youth, in the glory days of Donkey Kong Country's release cycle, and it's still a game I've not played. Chrono Trigger, and I would play it on my SNES Classic, but they did not include it. So anyway, we have some calls to take, Shane. People talking about Mario Tennessee. I honestly didn't think we were going to get any calls about this, because I was thinking people would be like, okay, but why aren't you talking about Donkey Kong Adventure? You're a Donkey Kong website. What the hell is wrong with you? Or we want more Banjo-Kazooie anniversary episodes. What is wrong with you? But no, got a couple calls, so we will take them, and then we will be back with, I guess, final thoughts on Mario Tennis Ace. I don't know what more we could possibly say, but maybe...
I can say more.
Okay.
I love how the audience wears shirts and holds flags with the contenders' logos.
Oh.
I'm definitely not reading notes here. I wish we could see some more courts based on locations like the Congo jungle, but I do appreciate the fact that it's kind of focusing on a new location. Yeah. The default setting is quick play, which I'm not a fan of, but it's easy to switch to extended.
We have to save some thoughts for the final thoughts, or else this episode is just going to end, and it will end without any final thoughts.
That would be tragic.
I know look, I know this is your first time co-hosting, but you've listened to enough of these that you should know how it works. We're going to take this call now.
Okay.
Hey, this is Sabertooth1billion from off of the forum, and I just wanted to say I really like Mario Tennis Aces. I've had a lot of fun with it. Not very good at it. I'm quite crap at the game, but it's a really fun game. It's more like a fighting game than a sport game. Anyway, I was just wanting to point out that I think DK is a really good character in the game, and he's sort of my main. If I could be said to have a main, I'd say he's my main. So I'm just saying, he's a really good character, and I recommend using him. And I really hope Diddy Kong is good too, and maybe we can get Rattly the Snake in the game as well. I think that'd be really, really nice. They could pay tribute to that. A lot of people are disappointed that the game's story mode is not like the handheld games, and personally, I understand that. I never played those games, but from an outsider's perspective, they seem to be sort of pulling up by your bootstraps from nobody to hero, kind of. You build your sports legacy, and it's sort of a more personal story. Instead of playing as Mario, you're playing as just a normal guy. So I kind of understand why people don't like the new adventure mode. I'm sure you guys will talk about that in the episode, so I don't need to ask of your opinions. Yeah, it's pretty controversial. I like the adventure mode enough. It's really short. Really, really short. But, yeah, it's pretty much exactly what I expected. Could have used more DK stuff. Would have been nice to see Diddy in the adventure mode instead of having to wait 3 months to play as him. I'm not bitter. So, anyway, yeah, I'm sure you guys will talk about your thoughts on that subject. Personally, I prefer to see Mario characters center stage. I don't really care about Square Enix's OCs. But, yeah, I understand people's perspectives on that. Anyway, can't wait to listen to the episode. Peace.
Thank you for the call. Another Donkey Kong mainer, as it were, and yeah, brings up a good point that's always weird for me in these games. So Donkey Kong is essentially my main Shane in every Mario Sports title, unless Diddy Kong is present. But I still play as Donkey Kong 2. Diddy is my main, but Donkey Kong is my backup main, especially when there's things like doubles modes and what have you. And I try to play both characters. So the weird thing is that they're always so different, because Donkey Kong's always portrayed as a power character, or a heavyweight, or however it's quantified in that particular game, while Diddy is always portrayed as a lightweight or a quick character, nimble, and they play very differently, and it's always weird that I can get the hang of both when they're at the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And it's going to be really hard when Diddy joins the game this fall, or at the tail end of summer, whenever it comes out this September, because remember, summer actually lasts through like the third week of September. Talk Like a Pirate Day falls in summer, even if it's September 19th. Remember, unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Look at me being Eurocentric again. So, I don't have Diddy Kong in the game yet to basically build up my skills with Diddy. So I'm going to get really, really good at the game with Donkey Kong. And then I'm going to have to relearn how to play it with Diddy rather than doing it concurrently, like with every other time they're in the same game. So it's going to be a bit of a hurdle to jump. And this isn't even a Mario and Sonic at the Olympics game. So he did bring up a little bit about, I haven't been keeping my ear to the ground about the reaction to story mode. Maybe this is just on the DK Vine forum where people actually give a damn about Camelot's RPG games for the Game Boy. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype for Aces on the greater internet, but once it came out, I see nothing about how it was really disappointing, and I haven't really looked into why, because it's hard to actually find a reason, but...
Really? Okay, well, I love it, so unabashedly, I think it's great, and I know I'm the guy who always says things are great as of late. I like Ukulele. I recognize Ukulele has some faults, but I really like it. You and I both absolutely just like are obsessed with Sea of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
Although I would say that I think opinion on Sea of Thieves is finally swinging our way again. Now that we actually have regular content updates and people are seeing.
Here's the thing about Sea of Thieves, to go on a tiny bit of a tangent.
Let's do it!
People I know in real life, just like my friend's boyfriend who had to be on Xbox for some reason, he was always on the game. It's just like sort of the internet people. Like, he almost never talks to me. I just know him through his now ex. But he would still message me every once in a while and be like, "Want to play Sea of Thieves?" So, like, a lot of my friends, like my friends from middle school who I have an Xbox just for, again, no reason, I would always see them on Sea of Thieves. I think, like, the Sea of Thieves hate is just from, like, sweaty nerds on the internet for the most part.
And they have to be sweaty too. You have to measure the perspiration, and it has to fill above a certain level for them to quantify themselves as Sea of Thieves haters. If they're just slightly moist or a little damp, it doesn't count. And they probably like the game. Anyway, yeah, no, but I feel like Sea of Thieves at the very least has such a dedicated fan community now that I feel like it's
really nice.
It's kind of insulated from any exterior hate it initially got. And I think you see a lot of like think pieces by your Kotakus and your various gaming sites, and now say like, "Oh, Sea of Thieves, we were a bit hard on it when it came out, but now that a couple months have passed, and now that we're like past the Hungering Deep, and now that they're doing this, now the brilliance of the game is really showing itself." And it's what I was saying back in the first impressions episode that I did back in March with Nick. I was saying like, look, just give it time, trust me on this. And
I want to specifically point out Eurogamer as a mainstream video game website that has always been really into Sea of Thieves, and that's been nice since they're pretty much the one I go to these days.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So anyway, yeah, but I recognize that, yeah, I have been very, very enthusiastic about a lot of things in the general Renaissance era that we're in. But keep in mind, when I'm hard on things, I just generally don't talk about them, a la Ultra Smash. So, my enthusiasm, please don't take that as, well, Hyle just likes everything now. Hyle is just a shill, and he just like gleefully hypes everything because he's he's not just a Microsoft shill or a fake paid actor for Rare. He's trying to be that for Nintendo too. I'm not. I just really like this game. I have always played my fandom for Camelot on the table, and it's why Camelot during the Returns era and the beginning of the Renaissance, during the like 3DS and Wii U years, it was so perplexing. Like, has Camelot really just fallen this far? And now that we can see, no, they haven't. They just needed to have the time and the support from Nintendo that they needed to churn out another classic game and to improve on their classic games of yesteryear. So,
yeah, if you were shilling for Nintendo, I think we would have had a spotlight episode on, first impressions episode on Mario Party the Top 100, but that kind of just went by without anybody talking about it.
Yeah, so yes. I guess
I forgot it existed. I just went to the games list to find out what the last underwhelming game was, and that was it.
So I guess it's indicative anymore that Hyle and co-hosts are probably going to like an episode if there's a first impressions for it, or going to like a game if there's a first impressions episode for it. That might not always be the case. And of course, it's something very, very high profile comes along and it turns out we don't like it, we'll be upfront about that too. As we were with Smash 4 back when. I like it. And I would love to see Camelot do another RPG game, a third Mario Golf or Mario Tennis RPG game. Let's catch up with these characters in real time. Kid and Joe, and I always remember the Mario Golf characters over the Mario Tennis characters, but He said Square Enix, but I think he meant Camelot. They're OC, original characters. Like I said, in Power Tour, the Game Boy Advance game that was the for Mario Golf, that was the sequel to the Game Boy Color one. Like, we caught up to the characters in real time, and it turns out Kid suffered a career-ending injury in the time between the games. So I just love how fucking dark and just depressing. It reminds me of how the Diddy Kong Racing cast, most of them children at the time, had like real life slap them in the face so hard after that game ended. Diddy like made off like a bandit. Diddy like has had all the spoils, but Banjo
Diddy sort of had that experience before Diddy Kong Racing when he accidentally committed genocide once or twice, depending on personal canon.
Right. So yeah, but Banjo got fat. Conker, of course, had his girlfriend get murdered and him falling into an existential crisis of despair while ruling a kingdom, one that he's not fully recovered from at the very least 10 years after Bad Fur Day. And he has devolved into having nights filled with pansexual drunken orgies. Bumper, of course, was arrested for public masturbation. Hard times fell upon the Diddy Kong Racing cast, and it feels like Camelot gave their OCs a taste of a similar formula. But I would love to see a third one of each. The thing is, it would be a format I think really suitable for the 3DS. And now that we have a Nintendo president who is a fan of golfing RPGs, and we are trying to get on the Kongversation for the spotlight episode of Mario Golf (Game Boy Color) in the fall of 2019. Anything is possible. And when we get him on that episode, Shane, we will ask him directly, because he speaks English, right? So we will ask him directly, hey, can we get a new one? Can you force Camelot to make a game like that, plus a 3D Donkey Kong game? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for the call. And we have another call to take. It's a doubles match. 2 for the price of 1. So let's take our second caller and hear what they have to say about Mario Tennis Aces.
Hey, Kongversation. It is Andre calling to share my thoughts on Mario Tennis Aces. I haven't played it yet, but that doesn't matter, because I'm here to talk today about something I actually noticed several months ago while watching some trailer footage. So Waluigi. I should have known better, because I already know that it's a similar case with Mario, especially after playing Odyssey, where he has, his hat off a lot. But I always, looking at Waluigi, just, from his mustache, I always just kind of assumed, with his, full hat on, that his hair would be black too, but I was watching Mario Tennis Aces footage, and no, it's light auburn brown and, stylishly swept back against the side of his face, and just beautiful. And it made me realize something, that I want to kiss him, all over his face. I'm looking at a picture right now for reference. I'd start, with 1, maybe 2 kisses on his lips, because I'm not looking to tease him. And, his nose is big and pink, so obviously you gotta give 1 kiss to the tip of that. But then I think I'd move down, kind of along the top edge of his mustache, kiss all the way along that, and then, from there go over his forehead, cross down to the other side of his mustache, and kind of, repeat on the other side of his face, do a little figure 8. And from there, I think I'd work my way, down along his jaw, and, definitely kiss his chin, stop at his ears. He has big elf ears, and, blue eyeliner on, because it's like the inverse of Luigi having blue irises, and Waluigi doesn't have irises. A lot to appreciate about Waluigi's face. So yeah, I'd bite one of his ears, at least. And from there, I think I'd, go down to his neck, but that's not on his face anymore, so yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about that. So I guess what I'm really trying to ask is, would you let Chain Chomp give you a blowjob? Like, I know he's got big, sharp teeth, but, he's holding the tennis racket in his mouth, and, canonically the tennis rackets can break now. So, like, clearly he can use his teeth, in a gentle, pleasurable way. So which Mario Tennis character would you make love with? And give me the step-by-step. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Andre. Who, by the way, is also Godzilla guy. The aforementioned Godzilla guy. This is a call I was not expecting, but for starters, you might want to temper your attraction a little bit to Waluigi, because I would imagine, like, portrayed in real life, the semi-cartoony depiction of him, if you actually saw him in real life, it would be quite horrific. For one thing, the blue eyeliner, I've always taken that to be bags under his eyes, like dark circles, just awful, just awfully, like, sleep deprived, like the kind of, like, crow's feet that are just, like, have to be surgically removed. The brown hair that I'm looking. I looked this up for reference as you were talking about lightly caressing his face with your mouth and what have you. I looked this up. His hair looks. I'm looking at it from both sides, front and back, and it looks like he's sweeping it forward in a lot of the same way that Trump utilizes his comb over. And I'm not saying that this is a comb over, but I am thinking that he dyes his hair brown. I don't think this is his natural hair color. I think he dyes it brown to have a similar hair color as Luigi. I think naturally he would have black, scraggly hair like his mustache, which he doesn't bother to dye.
Or it's a hairpiece.
Or it could be a hairpiece, but no, because it's not behaving like a hairpiece, Shane. Hairpieces generally have this flatness, this lifelessness to them. This one really does, like, it looks
it's
like
a Mario game.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he dyes his hair, but then again, I'm pretty sure Mario and Luigi both dye their hair, because canonically, I'm sure they're in their 50s by now. So everybody's dyeing their hair. Like, nobody has natural hair color anymore in the Mario cast. And, yeah, I don't know. So I don't think we can surmise too much from hair color. But I do applaud you for remembering way back when me talking about the pleasures of using your teeth. Or having teeth used on you during fellatio. So bravo on pulling out that obscure bit of Kongversation lore. Wow. Can't say I am sexually attracted to any of this cast, though. I have to be honest.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too. Like, look, I know I'm a Donkey Kong guy, and I go on and on about his perfect butt. Still doesn't mean I would sleep with him.
Though you do think Dixie is the ideal mate.
Okay, I meant in personality, not in the fact that she's a monkey. Okay? Just personality and her spirit, her attitude towards life. Okay, look, that's gonna haunt me like a haunted racket until I'm in the grave, okay?
It's okay, Hyle. I'm gonna go on record right now. I support you and agree with you.
Okay, thank you. But I just meant that I thought, like, I can see why Diddy would be still with his childhood girlfriend 2 decades after they first started dating. Because they're perfect. They're the perfect pair.
You really are.
Okay. Anyway, it is remarkable though that Wario and Waluigi both have, like, perfect white teeth. you would think they would have yellow, gnarled, like disjointed teeth. No, like I'm looking at them, they look like chiclets, like Donkey Kong's toothy grin. So I'm thinking veneers. I'm thinking that they've lost their original teeth, or they've got caps on, or like something is going on where they're trying to replicate the look of Mario and Luigi, and so they have falsies in their mouth.
I just think they brush.
Chain Chomp probably would give a good blowjob, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't want to think about it. Andre has put the thought in my head, Inception style. I think he was in my dreams last night, which is why I dreamt about it, but it would be pretty hot. Plus, there's the chain, so some 50 Shades shit going on. If you're into,
oh yeah,
you know, if you're into that scene, you got that added kink. So, yeah, okay. Now I fully expect you to write an erotica of that and put it on Amazon and force us to review it in the coming months.
I'll ask Natalie's friend or I'll ask Natalie to ask her friend, because remember, my roommate is friends with the writer of Banjo-Kazooie, which is how we actually discovered it.
Banjo-Kazooie, right? And we did that classic episode of it. So thank you for the call, Andre. Speaking of Andre, back in the live stream chat, he says, not even Donkey Kong has natural hair anymore, since Tropical Freeze reveals that he dyes the silver hairs he began growing on his back during returns. Good point. Very good point. Although maybe it's just the lighting. Or, you know, maybe you have to see it in proper light. Because, look, I've got gray hair in my hair, but you can only see it in proper lighting. Otherwise, it's still like pure brown. So I think Donkey Kong is the same way. It's all down to the lighting. Another 10 years, sure, he'll be dyeing it. But unless all the characters discover that fountain of youth that keeps Black Eye perpetually young, somewhere in the Sea of Thieves. Rare, please use this if you're listening. Anyway, so what else do we want to talk about? Captain Cheeseback says, I think Mario is canonically 24. Yeah, but
he is.
You have to ignore that. Like,
I will.
There is again, the DK Vine rule is in-game, anything in-game or the portrayed in-game overrides anything mentioned out of the game that contradicts it. Ergo, because there is no way Mario could be 24 and have so many adventures under his hat, especially when the Kongs have aged. Mario cannot be 24. So I choose to disregard that. I like it better that Mario is a salty old man in his 50s, not to be confused with beloved Sea of Thieves character Salty. And he basically, he's lost a ton of weight, and he dyes his hair, so he still looks relatively youthful. But yeah, Mario's he could qualify for an AARP card now. So what else do we have to say about Mario Tennis Aces, Shane? Final thoughts. Here we are. You said you had so much more to talk about.
I said it really quickly.
Oh, are we?
Unless you want to like respond to them. Just I was reading off some notes I had. Like the audience in the stadium will have shirts and flags with the players' logos.
Okay. Yeah. When they wear Diddy's shirt, come September, it's just gonna look like they're wearing Diddy shirts. It's gonna look like they're wearing the Diddy shirts from Fangamer. The Simeon Sidekick shirt that's been unfortunately retired. So yeah, maybe they bought a whole bunch from the Star Company, which has branched out in the Mushroom Kingdom now. Who's to say?
That must be why they discontinued it.
Yeah. Fangamer didn't want to get sued, so they had to just phase them out. Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely recommend Mario Tennis Aces to anybody listening. If you're a fan of the weirdo shit we got off on, you'll enjoy this. If you're a fan of just really solid gameplay, sports or otherwise, it's very addictive gameplay, and it's a lot of fun to play against friends. So I have it, Shane, you have it. It would be great if more DK Viners had it, because it would be really fun to play this against each other. I've got to get better at it, obviously, before we do. But yeah, this is like, I think, maybe the best Mario sports game since the GameCube era. And it really does excite me now that they've got this out, and they've got this basically complete minus the upcoming characters and whatnot. I really want to see them return to golf and see what they could do with golf again. And I'd like to see some RPG games too. And I would love if Camelot could actually develop something new too, not just golf and tennis, but actually give us something outside of that perpetual Groundhog Day they seem to be stuck in, where they just make golf and tennis, golf and tennis, golf and tennis, 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 golf. So anyway, yeah, it's you might say this is a return to Camelot, but you might say that, whereas you might say Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was Lee Harvey Oswald putting a bullet in JFK's head, although that amount of accuracy sadly was lacking in Ultra Smash, so you might not say that. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like the last game Camelot made that wasn't golf or tennis was Golden Sun Dark Dawn.
What year is that?
2010.
Wow. So yeah, they are overdue to do something else.
And before that, it was Golden Sun: The Lost Age in 2002.
Wow. Okay. So.
And it's not just Nintendo. Capcom had them make We Love Golf for Wii in 2007. They made Mobile Golf for the Game Boy Color on their own, I guess.
You know what?
Or no, that was Nintendo. Nintendo wanted Mobile Golf and Mario Golf, I guess.
Maybe if they really want to get back to their roots, they can do the next Mario Golf game. Mario Golf, I don't know, above par or under par or whatever. Maybe then they can have a story mode where instead of the Kingdom of Basque, it takes place in Mar-a-Lago, and instead of Golden Sun, it can be Golden Sands. Because of the P, Shane.
No, don't ruin my favorite outpost.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.